I want you to take a second and just imagine a state of existence where you are completely, totally free from worry.
Which, I mean, sounds pretty great, honestly.
Right. But I don't just mean, paying off your mortgage or finally getting to inbox zero.
Oh, so not just the everyday stuff.
No, not at all. I want you to imagine being totally unbound by the pressures of success, completely untethered from politics. And here's where it gets really radical.
Lay it on me.
Imagine being completely free from even the desire for a long, healthy life.
Wow.
Yeah, just a perfectly blank slate of existence where literally nothing bothers you because, well, there's nothing you're trying to protect.
It is genuinely uncomfortable to even conceptualize that. I mean, our entire human operating system is built around acquiring those things, right?
Exactly.
We protect those things. We have this near constant anxiety about losing them. So to remove that anxiety means removing the very things that make up our daily identity.
Well, in today's deep dive, we are looking at a philosophical and spiritual roadmap that asks us to do exactly that.
Yes, and it is a wild ride.
It really is. We're unpacking a highly unusual text from August 2020 by an author named Shui Feng. It's titled, "You Are a Celestial Being When Your Mind Abides Nowhere."
Such a fascinating title.
Right. And the core mission of our deep dive today is to explore this text's ultimate promise, which is that letting go of absolutely everything, every attachment, every goal, every survival instinct is the only way to gain true, literal liberation.
And, setting the table for this, we really need to look at how this text operates, because it is incredibly unique.
Yeah, it doesn't read like a normal self-help book.
Not at all. It blends this sprawling, almost sci-fi level cosmology with these very strict ground-level instructions on how to detach from modern life.
Yeah, the contrast is crazy.
It is. It pulls threads from Buddhism, Christianity, and Taoism, but it weaves them into this highly distinct framework for escaping what the author views as, well, the prison of human existence.
And just a quick note for you listening, we are going entirely objective today. We're just mapping out the mechanics of this proposed escape route to see how it actually works.
Right, impartially looking at the text itself.
Exactly. So before we figure out the escape route, we kind of need to know what we're escaping to.
The destination.
Yeah. Shufeng doesn't just say, you reach enlightenment. He takes us all the way out into this massive cosmic structure.
He really does. He proposes this universe made up of 20 parallel worlds.
20.
Yeah, 20 parallel worlds existing within a 36-dimensional space.
36 dimensions. That is just impossible to picture.
It is. And the scale is very intentional. By establishing 36 dimensions, the text immediately frames human existence, our little three-dimensional reality, with all our political debates and career anxieties, as incredibly small.
Like totally insignificant.
Right. And according to this framework, across all of those 36 dimensions, the absolute most unrestrained free lives belong to what he calls celestial beings.
And they sit at the very pinnacle of this cosmic hierarchy.
Exactly. They are the ultimate goal.
The text describes these celestials as being completely free from worry, right? Like they enjoy life wherever they are, and they harbor zero stubbornness.
Yeah, no friction whatsoever.
But the mechanic that fascinated me most was how they actually interact with the universe. The text explicitly says they never do anything, yet allow all things happen through them.
That phrase is so key. It's the defining characteristic of the celestial state.
Allow all things to happen through them.
Right. It basically describes a complete lack of friction with reality. The text uses this rather beautiful imagery, actually. It says they fill love in mountains and rivers, spread affection everywhere, and act entirely in accordance with their natural state.
So they aren't forcing anything.
No, never. They take advantage of opportunities only as they organically arise without, pushing an agenda.
So it's essentially the ultimate psychological flow state.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
Like, imagine you're in a rushing river. Normal human existence is frantically swimming upstream, right?
Fighting the current every inch of the way.
Exactly, exhausting yourself to reach some arbitrary goal you've set on the riverbank. But this celestial state sounds like just flipping onto your back, floating effortlessly, and letting the river carry you.
Just drifting.
Yeah, you aren't fighting the water, you are letting the water happen through your journey.
That captures the lack of resistance perfectly. In that state, the ego is no longer trying to dictate the terms of reality. You just remove the friction between what is happening and what you wish was happening.
But let me push back on this a little bit, Because floating down the river sounds dangerously close to just extreme apathy.
I can see how it sounds that way, yeah.
I mean, if you never do anything and just leave things to fate, aren't you just being passive while the world burns?
Right, like you just don't care.
Yeah, like if you see someone drowning in that same river, does the celestial being just float on by because they're, quote, letting things happen?
Well, from the text perspective, we really have to separate non-attachment from apathy.
Okay, how so?
Apathy is actually a negative emotional reaction. It's a state where you feel defeated or depressed or stubbornly indifferent to the world.
Like a wall you put up.
Exactly. But the celestial state described here is supposedly highly active in its awareness. It's just completely detached from outcomes.
I see.
You aren't ignoring the world, you know.
Yes.
You are engaging with it without trying to force it into a shape that pleases your ego. You don't suffer when things go wrong because you never attach your identity to things going right in the first place.
Okay, so back to the drowning person.
Right. You might still pull the drowning person out of the river, but you do it as a natural, spontaneous reflex of the moment. Not because you're attached to the identity of being a savior.
Or because you're terrified of death.
Exactly.
That makes sense. It's the difference between acting out of instinct versus acting out of anxiety.
That's a perfect summary.
So, if this 36-dimensional flow state is the goal, how does a stressed-out mortal trapped in a three-dimensional world actually bridge the gap?
We need the practical steps, right?
Yeah, what's the instruction manual?
Well, the author lays out a specific progression, and before you can even attempt the final mental leap, there are 3 basic methods you have to complete.
Okay, what's number 1?
Number 1 is you must repay your debts, end your worldly ties, and separate yourself from the secular world.
Wait, how literal is repay your debts? Does he mean like spiritual karma or does he mean my credit card bill?
Honestly.
Both. Seriously?
Yeah, the underlying logic here is that you cannot sever your ties to the human world if you still owe it something.
Oh, wow.
If you have outstanding obligations, financial, familial, or emotional, those are literal tethers keeping you in this dimension. You have to zero out the ledger of human obligation.
That is intense. Which leads to the second method, I'm assuming?
Yes. The second method is creating ties with celestials and accumulating merits and virtues.
Okay, but hold on. In a system that tells you to detach from everything, what exactly constitutes a merit?
Right, it seems contradictory.
Yeah, I can't just be like volunteering at a soup kitchen if we are supposed to abandon human concepts of good and bad.
You're totally right. In this context, accumulating merits isn't about earthly morality at all. It's about energetic alignment.
Energetic alignment.
Yeah, you are essentially trying to tune your frequency to the celestial dimensions.
Right.
And you do this through the third method,
Which is?
transforming human affection, human nature, and the human world into celestial affection, celestial nature, and celestial world. You are actively overriding your biological and social programming.
Overriding the programming. Okay. But doing those 3 things doesn't just automatically get you a celestial passport, right?
No, not at all. The text actually calls that basic work.
Basic work.
Yeah, the absolute core requirement, the final hurdle you have to clear is the command to, quote, abide your mind nowhere.
Abide your mind nowhere. The author traces this specific phrasing back to Shakyamuni Buddha, right?
He does, yes. He quotes the teaching that the mind should not abide in form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or dharma.
Let's define Dara here for a second, just because outside of Buddhist philosophy, that word can be a bit confusing for people.
Oh, definitely. In this specific context, dharma refers to the underlying phenomena or rules of reality. It means concepts, mental objects, or doctrines.
Got it.
So, not only can your mind not stick to physical sensations like taste or touch, it cannot stick to abstract concepts, philosophies, or even the rules of the universe.
It has to be totally unmoored.
Exactly. You have to maintain an empty mind until, subjectively, nothing exists.
Which sounds incredibly poetic, right up until Zhuefeng provides the literal itemized list of what you have to eradicate from your heart to achieve this.
Oh yeah, the list is something else.
It's a complete shock to the system. I mean, I can see letting go of enemies, money, fame, and wealth. That sounds like standard monastic advice, right?
That's the baseline for most ascetic traditions, yes.
But then he just keeps going. He demands you eradicate any attachment to your country, your ethnicity, and your religion.
Which is already asking a lot.
But then he takes it a step further. No family.
Yep.
No health, no longevity, no laws. And the one that really stopped me in my tracks, no self-refinement and no success.
Having literally nothing in or on your mind is the uncompromising definition of abiding nowhere. The mechanism is absolute.
It is the complete wiping of the hard drive.
That's exactly what it is.
I look at this list, and it's basically the human operating system. You're taking our biological drives, our social constructs, our evolutionary survival instincts, and you're just highlighting the whole folder and hitting delete.
Formatting the drive until it is a blank spinning disk.
Yes. Because, well, I guess the text argues that any program running on that hard drive, even the ones we universally agree are positive, like health or self-improvement, is a vulnerability.
It's a hook where suffering can catch you. That's the logic. If you care about health, you fear disease. If you care about success, you naturally fear failure. The author claims this blank slate state is the reality in higher dimensions, like the 1,000-year world or the Elysium Islands continent.
Which are part of those 20 parallel worlds.
Exactly. And he even claims that in our current reality, a group of his followers known as Chanyuan Celestials have basically succeeded in doing this.
Okay, but I really have to push back on the sheer practicality of this, deleting the desire for health and longevity.
It sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It does. If you delete the desire for health, you stop looking both ways before you cross the street. You stop eating when you're hungry.
Right.
If a community of these Chanyuan Celestials actually uninstall their fundamental survival instincts, they would just walk off cliffs. How can a physical body, let alone a whole society, function like that?
Only because the celestial state isn't suicidal. It's naturalistic.
Naturalistic.
Yeah, think of an animal in the wild. Like, a deer doesn't have an abstract concept of health or longevity. It doesn't diet, doesn't stress about its 5-year plan.
That's true.
It just eats when it's hungry, it sleeps when it's tired, and if a predator appears, it runs. It acts perfectly in the moment without any psychological baggage about the future or the past.
Okay, I see.
The text is arguing that human society, with its hospitals, laws, and economies, is entirely built on the fear of death and chaos.
So we build the cages ourselves just to feel safe.
Precisely. From this perspective, society structures are elaborate prisons built out of attachment.
No.
If you truly want to be a celestial being, unrestrained and free in a 36-dimensional cosmos, you have to abandon the earthly cage entirely. And the comfortable parts of the cage, like family and success, well, there's still bars holding you back.
Man. So if you are attempting this monumental task of formatting your entire human hard drive, you obviously need instructions.
You definitely need a guide.
But the text introduces a massive paradox here. It warns that this very instinct to seek a guide is exactly where most people fall into a spiritual trap.
The author is ruthless about who is actually qualified to guide you. He provides this incredibly elite, exclusive lineup.
Who made the cut?
Jesus Christ, Buddha Shakyamuni, Immortal Laozi, Master Bodhidharma, and Deformed Buddha.
And he assigns a mandatory reading list to go with them.
Heavily mandatory.
Yeah, to achieve this state of abiding nowhere, the text explicitly instructs you to read the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John,
Right.
along with the Diamond Sutra, the Heart Sutra, the Tao Te Ching, the Dharma Patriarch's bloodline theory, and finally, the author's own works, right? The Chanyuan corpus and the Swifeng corpus.
It is a massive, highly specific curriculum. It spans multiple global traditions, all synthesized into one required syllabus.
Okay, but before we get into why these specific books are required, I just have to point out the most bizarre, jarring moment in the entire text.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
It's so wild. Right after handing down this dense, sacred, cosmic reading list, the author drops this weirdly casual promise in parentheses.
It's unbelievable.
He literally writes, quote, "If you cannot do them this way, then I can marry you."
It completely breaks the fourth wall of typical spiritual texts.
It's such a strange tonal whiplash, You are reading about ascending to the 36th dimension through ancient sutras, and suddenly there's this intimate, almost humorous fallback option.
Like a safety net.
Yeah. If enlightenment is too hard, hey, we can just get married. It's so unexpected, but it actually leads right into his intense warning about the modern spiritual landscape.
Which is critical to his entire philosophy. He argues that the internet is flooded with what he calls chicken soup for the soul.
Ugh, yes.
And he classifies all of this modern spiritual content as elusive thinking.
Which is such a great way to describe the modern doom scroll of self-help, honestly.
It really is. And he paints a very grim picture of the outcome. He says you spend your whole life reading articles from internet, big gods, big Buddhas, big celestials, and great masters, spending your money on their magical arts.
And what's the result?
You reach your deathbed, look back, and realize you understand absolutely nothing. You have nothing. You've just been spinning around in one spot, trapped in what he calls the cave of the silken web.
The cave of the silken web. That phrase is brilliant because it perfectly diagnoses the illusion of productivity.
Oh, absolutely.
You consume a 10-step morning routine video, you read an inspirational quote from an internet guru, and you feel like you are doing the work.
But you aren't actually moving.
Exactly. Every piece of advice you consume is just another thread wrapping around you. It keeps you paralyzed in the web, constantly consuming but never actually changing.
The web feels like a support structure, but it's really a trap designed by the spider to keep you there.
But wait, this brings us to a massive logical contradiction.
Okay, what is it?
The entire thesis of Zhuofeng's text is that you must have no attachments. You literally have to eradicate religion, laws, and the Buddha from your heart to abide your mind nowhere.
Right, the hard drive wipe.
So why is there a mandatory reading list? Isn't forcing someone to study the Gospels in his own corpuses the exact opposite of having no rules? If I need to delete my hard drive, why am I downloading all these ancient texts?
That's a great question. Think of this mandatory reading list like an uninstaller program on your computer.
An uninstaller program.
Yeah, when your computer is bloated with viruses and fragmented files, which in this case are your human attachments and ego, you can't just wish them away. You have to intentionally download a powerful uninstaller program to wipe the system clean.
Oh, I see.
The Gospels, the Sutras, the author's corpus, they are the uninstaller. They contain the specific code needed to dismantle your earthly attachments.
Ah, so you use the books to delete the human operating system?
Precisely.
But then what happens to the books once the drive is wiped?
Well, you have to delete the uninstaller too. Yeah. Once the mind had changed the state of abiding nowhere, you drop the teachings. If you cling to the reading list after you've achieved this state, you've just turned the uninstaller into a new religion.
And you're stuck?
Exactly. The problem with the cave of the silken web on the internet is that those gurus don't give you an uninstaller, they give you a subscription service.
Wow.
They want you dependent on their updates forever.
That makes perfect sense. But why the urgency? Why is the author so obsessed with us reading these specific books right now? What is he afraid we're going to click on instead?
The urgency comes from his view of our current cosmic timeline. The text describes our era as a degenerating time.
Which implies things are actively falling apart or, like, becoming corrupted.
According to the cosmology of the text, this period of cosmic chaos means that entities from all walks of life are actively flooding the human realm looking for descendants.
Like a recruiting drive.
It's an open spiritual battlefield. You have gods and celestials recruiting, but you also heavily feature demons, devils, and monsters looking for followers.
So the demons aren't just hiding in the shadows with pitchforks. They are actively marketing themselves.
Exactly. And the terrifying mechanic here is that the text explicitly warns that the measures and methods used by demons and monsters are actually more attractive than the legitimate paths.
It's cosmic clickbait.
It literally is.
Yeah. The demons are the ones offering the, 5 easy tricks to unlock your magical powers and get rich.
Because that strokes the human ego. They offer a quick fix, and they promise to give you more control over your life, which is exactly what a stressed-out human wants.
Because we're desperate for control.
That's why the author urges the reader to always keep the sacred lamp in your heart burning, which basically means maintaining extreme discernment. And to help you spot the demons, he provides a list of counterintuitive red flags.
I love these red flags because they take our entire modern metric of success and completely flip it on its head.
They really do.
I mean, in our world, popularity equals legitimacy. If a video or a leader has 1 million followers, we assume they must be dropping incredible truth.
But Zhuofeng's text claims the exact opposite. He says that wherever there is hustling and bustling, disasters will gather.
Disaster.
Yes. It explicitly states that places with more disciples are actually more problematic. Mysterious and spooky places are just where demons make waves.
And he calls out magical arts too, right?
Yeah, perhaps most directly targeting the internet guru culture. He says places where people practice magical arts are just filled with paranoid people, possessed by devils who feel good about themselves but have completely lost their true natures.
So, if popularity is a trap and crowds are demonic magnets, does the author literally want us to go live in a cave by ourselves? How does a person navigate this if they can't trust anyone with a following?
Well, the isolation he is demanding is mental, not necessarily physical. You don't have to live in a cave, but you have to recognize why crowds form.
Okay, why do they form?
Crowds are the ultimate expression of human attachment. They're driven by groupthink, the desperation for belonging, shared emotional highs, and status.
That's true.
So in a degenerating time, a large crowd doesn't mean a profound truth has been found. It usually means a very comfortable, ego-stroking lie is being sold at scale.
Because the truth he is selling, deleting your family, your success, and your desire to live is never, ever going to pack a stadium.
Right. True celestial freedom, abiding your mind nowhere, is solitary. It is silent. It does not look good on a social media feed.
Not at all.
The crowd is looking for magical arts to gain more power, more wealth, more health. But the celestial path is about relinquishing all of it.
So what's the final solution he offers?
To bypass all this demonic deception, you have to ignore the bustling places, ignore the internet masters, and go straight to the source, the greatest creator, by executing that final command. Abide your mind nowhere.
Wow. So if we look at our own lives right now, just think about your phone buzzing in your pocket. Think about the constant notifications telling you to care about your credit score or optimize your diet, pick a political side, and build your personal brand.
Exhausting.
We are suffocating under the weight of having to care about everything all the time. Shifeng is looking at us like we are willingly sitting inside a burning cage, constantly trying to polish the bars.
It is an exhausting way to live. And it's precisely why this text, despite its extreme demands, feels so resonant. It just perfectly diagnoses the core exhaustion of modern life.
It offers a radical alternative to the noise. It says that the ultimate shortcut to peace isn't managing all your attachments better. It isn't finding the perfect productivity hack.
No, it's not about doing more.
Right. The secret to surviving the modern world might simply be dropping the attachments entirely, caring about nothing at all.
It's a total rejection of the modern paradigm. It suggests that our relentless pursuit of more health, more success, more enlightenment is exactly what is keeping us trapped in the cave of the silken web.
But it leaves us with one final massive paradox to ponder.
Oh, yeah.
Think about this as you go about the rest of your day. If true celestial freedom requires you to abandon all goals, all self-improvement, and all desires for success.
The total hard drive wipe.
Exactly. Then isn't the very act of trying to become a celestial a goal? By trying so hard to wipe your hard drive and reach this perfect, pressure-free existence, are you actually creating the one final attachment that will keep you from ever getting there?